I oversee 6 school districts. And those 6 school districts are Chelsea, Dexter, Manchester, Lincoln, Milan, and Saline. So, and I feel like I have the best job. I work with wonderful people. I have a wonderful support and all the superintendents throughout the county. So it is my pleasure to welcome you here today. This is our second time that we have done this particular event. It's called Classrooms to Boardrooms. Is it kind of breaking up, or is it just me? Does it sound a little choppy? Okay, better? All right, maybe I just need to hold it a little bit further away. Second time we've done this event, and what it is we wanted to bring business and industry into the schools and get the involvement from all of you in partnershiping, internships, co-op opportunities, advisory committee members that are here today. And what better way to do this is through our career and technical education, because quite frankly, we have been doing a lot of what you hear now in a buzzword. There's the 4 C's, the creativity, the collaboration, critical thinking, and communication. We've been doing it forever in CTE. And I will go one step further and say another C is that what we do is connect. We make a connection with students in all of our programs. So, Superintendent Graydon and myself and Mrs. Wiesel, let me do a quick introduction. This is Mary Wiesel. She is our co-op coordinator, special pops coordinator. Also, I have here today the sign-in desk, Leslie Ball. She is our CTE person in our CTE center that helps Mary a lot. Thanks. And then the most important person is Sharon Wiedmeyer, who is my administrative assistant. And I don't know if she's in here today or back at her office. So, so what had happened back in the fall, Superintendent Graydon said, we want to do it again. We'd like to get more business and industry folks here today. And we do. We have a number more than we had last year. And I said, great. But I really don't want to do the sit and get as much. I mean, I sat up here and I talked about what our CT programs look like and how many we have. And so I decided I needed a theme. I always needed, you kind of need a theme for a party. And I said, I want to celebrate success. And so I have all of these former graduates from many of our CT programs. And I'm going to have them talk and tell their story today. The interesting thing was, after this, early March, I went to the Governor's Education and Economic Summit in downtown Detroit, and he said the same thing. He said now we need to look at doing more with the skilled trades and career and technical education, and that we need to tell success stories, that so many parents now don't hear those, and that there is a need for skilled trade workers again. Folks my age that are getting ready to retire, there's no one there to replace them in welding and some of our manufacturing jobs. So this is how the event will work a little bit today. We are going to have the folks tell their story, and then I'm going to have our CTE Student Council take you on a tour to see all of our programs. And then I'd like for you to come back in here and then just fill out the back of the sheet. I have a few questions. Would any of you like to be on our advisory committees to help serve? Anything you can think of that I need to know. Give me some feedback of what we need to do a better job to prepare our students to be career ready. So without further ado, I am going to get this started and let these young folks tell their story. Jared, you want to go first?
Sure.
This is the mic, and you can stand or it can be.
Okay. Hello. How about now? Sort of? Okay. So my name is Jared Gall. I graduated from Saline in 2001, and I work for Car and Driver magazine. I'm a senior editor there. I started there actually with an internship my senior year of high school here in Saline that was organized through the CTE program. Basically, the CTE counselor pressured Car and Driver into giving me an internship to the point that I think they gave it, I really do believe they gave it to me so she would get off their backs. Because they didn't, at the time, they didn't have an internship program. It's actually a very small staff. There are only about 10 or 15 writers on staff, writers and editors. And excuse me. And so they put me in a room full of books about cars and gave me a computer and said catalog them, which I think was something that they wanted done, and none of them wanted to deal with it. And they thought, well, if we have to take an intern, we'll make him do this. And I've always been a big reader, and I loved cars, and so to me, this was heaven. It was just a room full of books about cars. And my first day there, I had my nose in the computer, and there was a noise at the door, and I looked up, and it was the janitor. And he asked me if I knew how to lock up because everyone else had left. So I said no and ran out of the building. But so I've been there now on and off for, 2015, so it's been 14 years now. And I mean, I would not be where I am. I would not have had that internship. I certainly would not have had the chance to work my way up the ladder the way I have without my CTE counselor getting my foot in the door. And so I'm forever indebted to this program for where I am today.
Any questions for Jared?
Yes.
So were you in the consortium as
Yes.
a student?
Yes. I was in Tim Tomosik's auto class, the auto tech program. So up until I got my internship, my plan was to just become a mechanic and come back and take his job whenever he left.
Did you enjoy English or writing or anything along the journey?
I did. Actually, I've always been a heavy reader, but I never liked the English class. It's just, I couldn't tell you what it is, but our staff at the magazine, it's half writers who know something about cars, half engineers who can actually string words together. And so I went into college, having that exposure to car and driver, I went into college thinking, okay, well, this is where I need to be. This is what I want to do. And anything's got to be better than English, so I'll do engineering. And I took physics and calculus and computer science and thought, you know what? It turns out English is better than something, and so I'll do English instead. And once I got there, I realized, that I think I don't know if it's you have more freedom in college English classes or what, but to kind of say and think different things. But turns out I loved English when I got to college, and so that it made it easy.
Any other questions for Jared? I need to give you the mic because apparently they can't hear. So, Jared, did you bring a car today?
I did. I have a BMW i8. It's their new hybrid supercar. Costs about $130,000. Looks like a spaceship. Pretty cool.
It'll be down I'm sure it's parked in the auto lab. So as you walk through, you can take a look at it.
Yes.
Kenny, you're next.
I'm Kenny Spicer. I'm Kenny Spicer. I graduated in 2014. Right now I'm working for Aish & Warner as a AT engineering software technician, dyno technician. I got like a bunch of names. So without this program and auto and CAD CAM and all that, I wouldn't have a job today. So Mosik really set my job up there for me. I'm not a good public speaker, I'm sorry. And so he was actually getting emails from companies trying to find young people coming out of high school that needed a job. So I took it. I was at Acura before, so that was really what got my foot in the door there. And without the CTE, I wouldn't have a job today. So it helped me a lot.
Can you speak to the how you're getting your college tuition paid for your job? I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I've done really good there, and they've seen it, and they don't want me to leave the company now. So they're paying for all 4 years of college for me to go to get my software engineering.
Wow. Congratulations.
Any questions for Kenny?
Where are you going to school?
Probably Easter.
Okay, next person is Jeremy Searles. And I have to tell you, when he sent the email to Mr. Tomosik not too long ago, I know I couldn't read it today, so we wanted him to come to tell his story because it was really touching.
My name is Jeremy Searles. I graduated in 2006. I did 3 years of auto shop, which was quite a feat. It was an excellent experience. Freshman year of high school, I was kind of little bit lazy. Just didn't really know what I wanted to do. Needed some direction. Tim Tomosic definitely played a role in giving me kind of a goal, which was to graduate, which is a good goal, and a job. At the end of the day, that there were skills and there was a test, and I could take it and be employed. Kind of midway through that, I shadowed through the program with the local fire department. Craig Heft, Chief Heft, and the firefighters really encouraged me that this was a job that I could do, and I dual enrolled my senior year. I was in the Advanced Auto 2, and I also was in the Schoolcraft Fire Academy my senior year of high school. So I came out of high school with 3 years of auto shop, auto certifications, and Fire 1 and 2 certification. So I immediately got a job right out of high school at the Kalamazoo Fire Department. Washtenaw and Kalamazoo, they actually paid for me to go to school, so I got a 4-year degree in fire science through Lake Superior State. Part of that program was I did my EMT, so I became a licensed EMT as a firefighter, and realized I loved the medical side. I love the firefighting, but I really love the medical side, so I met a lot of mentors through that, through another vocational program, and we worked with a lot of doctors in the emergency room, and they said, hey, why don't you, give doctoring a shot? So I said, okay. So I went back to school, and I did some more undergrad work. I did 2 more years. I did 6 years of undergrad, did the prereqs, took the MCAT, and was accepted to Michigan State University College of Human Medicine. So I'm actually a 2nd year, almost 3rd year medical student at Michigan State, their MD program. So I will be hopefully practicing here pretty soon as a resident in the state of Michigan. So it all started. I come here of my own accord. It really did start with this program and Tim Tomosic and just all the support I got. That I could do these things. I had a place. So.
All right.
That's exactly why. Do you, anyone have any questions for Jeremy? I think he has had a pretty powerful journey. I really think it's a great
I was just
opportunity.
gonna ask you, Craig, that's huge with the fire department, with the EMT part of it too, isn't it?
Oh, certainly.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
And for somebody to like it, that's.
Yeah.
Usually firefighters like
Exactly.
firefighting, fire.
Right, to link together,
Yeah.
really, yeah.
Yep. And Saline donated my gear for the academy too. So I had support from the entire community that pushed me through this.
Well, once you're a doctor, we'll probably invoice.
Yeah, I'll be back around. Yeah, there'll be some charity balls, things like that I'll have to go to. Yeah.
You're gonna own a truck.
I have a question for you, if it's okay.
Yeah.
So one thing that you mentioned that really caught my eye is that you said you started off as a lazy freshman. No offense.
No,
I have one of those maybe starting next year.
Yeah.
So what was the spark that got you engaged? Because really it sounds like it was getting you engaged in something that you really liked that started you on the journey. So what was that spark?
A lot of it was I liked working with my hands, and there just really wasn't an outlet for that up until that point. And it just one thing begot another. So I was working with my hands, but then in auto shop you learn some pretty advanced physics that I didn't learn until college for electricity, things like that. So I had to put the work in to work with my hands. So it was that back and forth, and then shadowing the fire department was like, wow, this is there are a lot of things I can do with these skills, and there are a lot of things I can do with my hands, but I have to put the work in. I can't achieve these goals without doing the schoolwork. So I finally had something. It was the motivation, and that, and just all the support that I could do this. These things were possible. Thank you very much.
Ben?
Hey everyone, I'm Ben Ellsworth. I graduated in 2013. So I was in the visual imaging technology program for 2 years. And I guess really the important thing about it is that I really found my passion there and found something that I really love, that I'm now devoting my entire life to. I guess when I started out in high school, I didn't like most people, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Both my parents are scientists, so I had a vague idea that I would get into physics or something, and I liked reading science fiction, so I was like, I'm gonna be an astrophysicist, because that sounds really cool, like studying stars and rocket science, all that, awesome. And eventually, so, I went through 2 years, and then a friend was in the visual imaging technology class, and just kind of talking about how cool it was, and how much fun it was. And I like to draw and stuff, so he was like, hey, check this out. You can draw and use computers and do just really fun stuff. And I got into it, and I took the class, and I really found an outlet for all like my creative energy, all my passion, like all the hard thinking and hard work that I want to do, but never really had an outlet to do in any of my other classes. I was able to do there, and kind of discovered like graphic design and art, and photography and illustration and all these, the whole shebang, and really excelled and learned to love it, and would stay here after school running the press, working on projects until sometimes like 8 p.m. Before going home. So now I'm at Washtenaw Community College for the graphic design program, and I got a full ride there, which I fully contribute to all the hard work and the effort and the passion that I found here in the visual imaging technology class. And I'm about to graduate this year and then transfer to the College for Creative Studies in Detroit, which is really exciting. Yep.
Ben was a national award winner for our VIT for graphic communications through Skills USA. And I think those scholarships that you're speaking of came out of being a
I actually
competitor.
haven't used any of that money yet. I got a full ride other than that, so I'm saving all that for next year.
Questions for Ben? Thanks, Ben. Brad.
All right. Well, I'm Brad Flink. I graduated from Saline High in 2008. I started here in the welding program, and I didn't really know where to push myself to after high school. But through the welding program, these two lovely ladies told me that I had some articulated credit to Washtenaw Community College. So I figured I really loved welding, and I should get a degree in something, so I went to Washtenaw and capitalized on the articulated credit. From there, I continued my competitive edge in Skills USA, which Jody just mentioned, and with Washtenaws much larger budget, I was able to stay in that welding lab on average 90 hours a week, where I pushed myself to not only compete nationally, but internationally in welding. In 2011, I made it all the way to London, England, to represent the United States in welding, where I took a silver medal. In doing that competition internationally, the American Welding Society gave me a $40,000 scholarship to go to school. So I capitalized upon that money, and I went to Ferris, and I got a bachelor's in welding engineering. And now I'm back at Washtenaw Community College as a welding instructor.
Wow. I didn't even know you could get an engineering degree welding. How do you compete? What is it that you do to compete in welding? What are you doing in that competition?
So in a welding competition, they literally give you a pile of steel parts, a blueprint with measurements, specifications, tolerances, and a time limit. You assemble it correctly with all the proper tolerances. You put a number on it, sends off to a bunch of judges, and whoever comes out with the highest number falls into places accordingly. So internationally, well, nationally and internationally, we weld with all processes: TIG, MIG, stick, flux core, pretty much everything.
That's really impressive. Really impressive. I could ask all of you questions.
Feel free if you would like to. No, we do have some time. If you want to, we'll get through them all, and then if you have more questions at the end, that would be great.
Do you go back and mentor some of the kids that are at fairs, especially those that are from Saline? Because I know there's a bunch of them up there.
Not the ones at fairs, but now at Washtenaw, I see a lot of the kids that are coming through the program here that are transferring just like I did. And being there now on the other side of the fence, I would call it, I can definitely see that the kids that come out of here are much better off skilled-wise, and they're much more trainable, which is very high quality. Because other kids that don't come from like a program like this, just out of high school, and they want to be welders, they have a much different like attitude, and their skill level is definitely a lot lower. So the kids coming out of here are definitely a couple steps ahead of other people that they would potentially be competing with on the job market.
There is a high demand for your skills.
Yes, sir.
You could have trained me, I just had to take the OSHA exam for my next career path, and arc welding was in there, and I wish I'd known you were around. I passed it though, but I wasn't first in my class.
Any other questions for Brad? Renee? Save the best for last, the ladies on
Ladies,
land.
yeah. My name's Renee Solkowski. I graduated from Saline in 2010. I was a part of the health sciences program. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, as a lot of young high school age kids are. But I knew that I wanted to do something in healthcare. That's kind of my niche. I knew I wanted to do that. So I thought I wanted to be a nurse, and the best part about the program here was I realized that's not what I wanted to be. The clinical part was not for me. The blood and guts was not for me. So, however, going into college, I still thought, well, what can I do that isn't nursing? So I thought about athletic training, started a couple of those classes. Okay, this also isn't for me. I ended up getting my degree in health administration, and I just started in January full-time at St. Joe's in Ann Arbor as an administrative assistant for the internal medicine and family medicine departments. They're the largest at the hospital. So I think the most changing thing for me here is I think it was a way for me to see, I was so exposed to all different parts of healthcare, all in one small year of my life. You know, in college, you don't get to job shadow as much as here. We had rotations here where we got to pick, okay, what units do you want to go to? What different things do you want to see? So being able to have that experience and see the different things that you like and that you don't like, it was a perfect opportunity. And then I also think that the CTE program as a whole is a great stepping stone for kids to figure out, okay, do I want to go to college? Do I want to specialize in this trait that I'm learning that I like? I think that it's a good transition for students, especially those who are unsure of what they want to do.
Questions for Renee?
Hey, Kayla. Hi, I'm Kayla Cable, and I went through the cosmetology program through Saline High School. I graduated in 2006. I started the cosmetology program my junior year and received my license 3 months after I graduated high school. Started working right away. I started off in like a high volume clientele salon. Moved to Phoenix for 2 years, was able to transfer my license down there. Moved back, wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, if this was the rest of my life or not. So I actually went to school for medical billing and administration. Was able to work while going to school, doing hair. Decided that was definitely not for me, but I loved hair. So I knew Fran Coy through Huron Valley Cosmetology Program. She did a lot of educational work, so I knew that that was a wonderful salon to work at. And I've been there for the past 3 years. I love my job. Without the cosmetology program through high school, I would not be able to receive a free education. Yeah, I love it.
Any questions you have for any of the panelists? Because I'm going to pick on a couple people in the audience. Oh, you're on. Mrs. Wiesel, no. I'm not good with that.
Okay, this was from a student, Joe Strobe, who came to see us last weekend, 2 weekends ago, excuse me. He is now down at the University of Toledo and was planning to come here, and yesterday told me he had a calculus exam, so he would not be here. But he wrote, I wanted to read his note to me. So it says, I would like to begin by apologizing for my absence. I was looking forward to having the opportunity to speak today. But unfortunately, as you all know, things come up in life and I will be taking an exam today instead. I was excited to speak today because I believe that why you are here is important. Manufacturing and tech-oriented education is too often undervalued and set aside as a secondary to classes such as calculus, biology, and poetry. While maintaining a strong core curriculum is important, having the opportunity to take both traditional and hands-on classes has given me a significant leg up in college and in life. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Joe Strobe. I graduated from Saline High School in 2013. I am a second-year mechanical engineering student in the Jessup Scott Honors College at the University of Toledo. I took a number of tech-oriented classes in high school, including metals and introduction and engineering drafting, but when it came time to choose my consortium class, I chose automotive technology. Having taken autotronics as a sophomore, I knew I was interested in learning more about automotive mechanics and that I liked the teaching style of the instructor, Mr. Tomosik, but I had no idea how much I stood to gain by taking auto tech. Through the first year, I learned about general shop safety, proper vehicle maintenance, cooling systems, and electrical diagnostics. I also had the opportunity to participate in Ford AAA, an automotive skills competition that tests students' knowledge through both written tests and hands-on challenges. Participating in Ford AAA, I became even more engaged with the material. Between my first and second year in the program, I was offered a co-op position at Gene Buttman Ford in Ypsilanti. At Gene Buttman, I had the opportunity to work with senior master technicians, learning from their vast wealth of knowledge while gaining hands-on experience and making money. During my second year at Autotech, I ran for and was elected president of the SWWC Student Council. Led by Mr. Tomosik's instruction and aided by what I was learning on co-op, I was able to win the Regional Skills USA Master Tech competition, as well as, with Justin Sly, compete in the state finals of the Ford AAA competition, where we earned the state high test score. These victories came with prize bundles containing tools and even scholarships, including a full 2-year ride to Washtenaw Community College. While the prizes were nice, my consortium experience was worth much more. I've always been a tinkerer. From the time I was very young, I enjoyed taking apart and at least trying to put back together anything I could get my hands on. And while I have always worked hard to achieve and maintain good grades, classes and homework generally felt more like chores. Consortium classes allowed me to find a balance between the necessary and the truly stimulating. Electing to go to college rather than tech school, I was unsure how my time spent in auto tech would benefit me, but it didn't take long to find out. Things learned in auto tech have been applicable to nearly every class I have taken to this point. The most striking example of the traditional disconnect between the theoretical and the practical came when I showed my material science TA, teaching assistant, an individual with 2 college degrees, how to use a micrometer. Pressure and compression problems, just like those encountered in engine displacement calculations, showed up in my Engineering Physics 1. Wiring diagrams like those taught in electrical diagnostics have come up in circuit analysis in Engineering Physics 1 and 2. In Physics 2 lab, I learned that almost no one knew what a multimeter was. let alone how to use one. These are just a couple of the numerous situations where what I learned in auto tech has directly helped me as a college engineering student. Additionally, this coming summer, I will be working my first engineering co-op with Ford Motor Company, an opportunity that I will be able to stretch to its fullest potential because of what I learned about automotive mechanics while I was in high school. I am sure that my auto tech knowledge and experience will continue to benefit me both in and out of the classroom until I graduate and for the rest of my life. Manufacturing and tech-oriented classes are too often ignored by those who are not interested in pursuing technical careers. Few realize how valuable the skills learned in consortium classes can be to other aspects of school and life. I hope that my experience and the experiences of other SWWC consortium students helps to convince students who are unsure whether or not a consortium program is right for them that they have so much more to gain and nothing to lose by giving tech a try.
We'll get a hold and thank Joe for those wonderful words. So I think you've heard a common theme, that balance between academics and career and technical education, and how important it is, and how all of these young folks have benefited from it. I want to ask a couple people to give just some information. Thomas, if you would speak a little bit about your internship that one of our students did with you last year in your program.
Yep. My name is Thomas Lidney. I work for QCF in Saline. And we are a manufacturer of cutting tools. We support a lot of our motor plates with cutting tools. And skills like we have seen here and past, we have seen these stores. That is really what we hope to create also for our employees. And basically I have a secret goal is to meet more of my coworkers at Bush's. But also think that we have a way to help and as business owners and managers, whatever we are, I think we have a way where we can help these stores to spark in the community. And we had Brian Hinkle this summer. And he left us with a really nice way of coming from Saline High School, and he was a joy to have here. And we're going to do 2 more this year. And we have had field trips at our facility. This year we had, I think, 140 technical students between welding and machining, and where we had the opportunity to meet all these young guys or girls that have a path or have a technical or interest, and then we have a chance to actually guide them in some sort of way where we have basically I see 140 people that I can sort of have an impact with in 1 hour, and I think as a business owner that is a really big gift to get and explain how we look at our employees, how the business community really can benefit from these stories and continue to grow in our careers. Because I don't think there is people like myself that did not start out with the gift of wanting to take a 4-year doctor's degree or whatever it is. That's not the way we all start out, but we start out with somebody leaving a hand out and help us just for the first step and create some sort of path where we can help young people to make the next choice. So I think it's really important. Just enjoy it. We'll continue.
Sue has also had some of our co-op students along with Bill Bell, and if you just want to share a little bit about, and that's something we're looking for too. If you were interested in hiring some of our students, we have co-op partnerships all over Saline, as far as Plymouth, Ann Arbor, all over Washtenaw County and beyond. So Sue, do you mind just saying?
Sorry.
I am Sue Hendrickson, and my husband and I own Global Recruiters of Ann Arbor. It's a recruiting organization. We support the automotive industry, and our typical candidates are engineering degrees. And they're highly in demand. We can't find enough of them. It's a candidate-driven market. And what we're looking for is candidates that are currently and happily employed, and we just tap them on the shoulder and expose them to new opportunities. And we look for people not only who have the education, but have the passion, like starting off tinkering with, auto components early on. That tells us that, no kidding, they live and breathe that automotive passion, and their heart is in that. And so seeing those traits in the young people is great. And so we have used Saline students through the co-op program to help us with those mundane tasks, things that we don't necessarily have the time or the passion to do. So obviously they do the grunt work. But it's people who are computer savvy, kids that are computer savvy, think out of the box, and are self-motivated. That's what we're looking for, and we've been thoroughly pleased with the kids that we have employed through the co-op program. And we will do it again.
Thank you. Sorry, Bill, and Sally, if you want to say a couple words about articulation after, if you don't mind.
Hi, my name is Bill Bell, and my wife Trudy and I run a small construction business here in Saline, and we try to get a co-op student once a year if we can from the building trades. As you know, carpentry is kind of a dying trade, and there's not a whole lot of us anymore to teach the younger generation what's going on in the business. And we like to get a student, if we can, to kind of show them the ropes. We run about a 5 or 6 man crew during the year. And if we can get one of these young people to come in and more or less follow us, learn, do some of the grunt work, as you say, but also get some hands-on experience. In fact, the young man we have right now, I don't want to, belittle what's going on, but he says he's actually learned more from us than he's picked up all year in building trades. So, but due to the fact that we have, 4 other different carpenters working, and he's only exposed to, what he gets in the classroom, then it stands to reason that he's exposed to, 4 other different individual opinions on how to do things. But I feel it's real important that us older, craftsmen pass it down to some younger people so that they pick up some skills. And I really enjoy working with the younger guys and gals from the community here. So we're looking forward to maybe getting another student again this year, but we've been real successful in the past. And thanks to the program.
Sally Adler's here from WCC, and I'm just going to have her talk a little bit about articulation. We've articulated credit, as you've heard many of these folks talk about, for years. So I'm going to turn it over to Sally.
Thank you, Judy. First of all, I'd like to thank all the young people who have articulated credits or been through this incredible program. And I just want to say that the articulation program that Washtenaw Community College and some of the other colleges have with Saline and the surrounding school districts is an incredible opportunity for students. Excuse me. The students can go through 1 or 2 years here in high school and then get 2 years or 1 year of their college education, in some cases paid for completely, but they can transfer credits in or they can be dual enrolled. And I think this is a great start for students. One of the things the community college has that the other university programs don't have is they have supports for students who are not quite sure that they have the resources to go into a 4-year program or beyond, as many of these young folks have done. And I think the articulations are something that really works very well, because you could do a 2 + 2 + 2, and we have students who are completing a 4-year college program in 3 years or less, which is an absolutely incredible thing. They're far ahead of their other students that they're competing with who did not go through a vocational technical program. The other thing that I would like to say is that these young folks have really emphasized the point that vocational technical education is not just for those students who are not college ready and who are not the smartest, because obviously they are, and I think this is a misnomer. The other thing that I also has been pointed out to me is that many of the programs evaluate if the student went through this program, are they currently employed in that program or pursuing a degree in that area 4 years from now or 5 years from now? And obviously, they're not. In many cases, this is the stepping stone for the future, for other kinds of things. Who would have guessed that someone would become a doctor or a writer for car, a driver, or a welding instructor, or all the other things that you folks have become and will become in the future from a vocational technical program. And I really think with President Obama and Governor Snyder's emphasis on vocational education, I think that we really need to get behind vocational technical education 150%, because I think it has taken the backseat for so many years. And we really need to push it, because as so many of the industry people have said, the people coming up through the ranks, we're retiring. We do not have the young people to replace us. There is not the leadership there. There is not the depth of the knowledge that the people who went through the vocational technical programs. They're the only ones who have the breadth of the knowledge, the depth of the knowledge, the leadership, and the ability to go forward to this country and for the state of Michigan. So let's go for vocational education.
Thank you. I did want to mention just something that's really awesome that's happened just recently in the state with articulation. Our egg program was one of the only programs that had not articulated credit anywhere. I should say it did at Davenport University, but a lot of our students weren't going to Davenport. But just this past week or so, Michigan State has agreed to grant 6 credit hours through students finishing our egg programs and finishing their FFA degree. So that is huge. But 6 credit hours out to Michigan State. So, well, with that, thank you so much for coming today. I'm going to turn you over right now to the CTE Student Council to take a tour. I also want to thank Chef Musto for the wonderful breakfast, Nate Bush and his camera crew for their help in doing taping this today so we can show it again in the future. Because I think, and thank you to all of you, because your messages were so powerful. I truly appreciate it. I really do.